Hello, dear viewer. Hello dear viewer and welcome to the build. As promised, I have a pure vanilla non-crafting build. This time, not only vanilla, but most of it was perfectly doable in 2011, except one terrifying weapon. Yes, I used the Bow of Shadows before, but somehow never noticed how deliciously broken it is. The draw speed buff not only improves your DPS, but also makes perks like Bullseye or Power Shot way more useful. Bullseye only has a 10% chance to paralyze your enemies on hit, but if you roll for that chance twice as often, well, it can really make a big ouch. No, Billy, it's not twice as often, it's 50% more often than the starting value with the quick shot perk and the Bow of Shadows. It's 50% more, you silly sod. But this is not an archer even. Archery is here just for support and variety. Simply smashing skulls with Volendrung is the main combat style, and I must say, it's been a while, Volendrung. I missed you, buddy. Anyway, roll the intro.
No one best. Won't leave here alive.
I have played a Berserker build and a Barbarian, but sometimes I think they weren't savage enough. All this smithing and alchemy is for losers. This incredibly angry, manly orc ain't got time for this load of balonies. As soon as he gets his hands on the majestic Volendrung and one word of elemental fury, he can deal with most dangers by entering the state of an enhanced stamina-absorbing rage. A blood-crazed fury when he activates his orc rage power to take only 50% damage and deal twice as much while hitting everything with blinding speed and absorbing stamina for it. With the sweep perk, of course, you can absorb stamina from every target in front of you, and Volendrung is faster than other Warhammers by itself, so it's actually perfect to use with Elemental Fury. Wait, hang on for a second, Belly. Elemental Fury does not work with enchanted items. You're a hack! Well, that's where you are wrong, Mr. Voice in my head. If you equip a non-enchanted bow, shout Elemental Fury, and then switch to a magic weapon, its attack speed will indeed be increased, which means you will have the benefits of the shout with the effects of the enchantment being applied at an increased rate. Very useful in our case, as we will need a lot of stamina. Oh yes! In a desperate attempt to make this build more interesting, I employed some dirty exploits, like this one, along with some restoration looping very moderately, not cause for panic, and my personal favorite of late, the shield charge without a shield. Of course, it's when you raise your block right as you bump into an enemy, sprinting, it can trigger the effect of shield charge, ragdolling them in all sorts of amusing ways. Enchanted Elemental Fury and Restoration Loop won't work if you are using the unofficial Skyrim patch. Ooh, a very vanilla build. I also used a few good old combos that are not at all exploits, just combos, mainly the one of Silent Roll and Critical Charge when you roll from hiding and finish it off with a sprinting power attack, delivering double sneak attack damage and double critical damage from that charge. So your standard combat plan is something like this. Start off with archery to weaken or get rid of some more annoying enemies like archers and spellcasters. If you are still not detected, you go for a silent roll charge. Next move, the blood-crazed fury of shout-enhanced Volendrung and Orc Rage. You can then mix and match some super fast power attacks with shield charging the crap out of the remaining enemies. Most of the time, if you knock them prone, you will have more than enough time to make sure they stay on the ground permanently. You can also decide to prolong the archery phase of combat, especially with the Bow of Shadows and the Quick Shot perk, simply peppering approaching enemies with rapid fire, staggering and even paralyzing them while keeping your distance. Sometimes, though not always, with your rate of fire, Bullseye will paralyze all enemies, giving you another opportunity to switch to your hammer. What a chad! Before I move on to the technicalities, yes, I used a little fashion mod, modular clothing system, to customize my looks. It has no impact whatsoever on the gameplay, it's just a bit of fur on my neck to make me look more barbarian-y. It still counts as vanilla, I say. For obvious reasons, the race is an orc. We need that rage power quite badly on master difficulty, which is what I play on in the video. Sometimes waiting for 24 hours before a boss fight may be necessary. The attribute spread is 3 health to 1 stamina. This is again because we need a decent chunk of health for higher difficulties. This spread is only viable if you have an absorbed stamina weapon or 2, so maybe go for some more even spread before that. Light armor perks and Predator's Grace boots will help with stamina management too, and some perks, and there will be ways of helping your stamina management, but if you want to change anything in the build, you probably need slightly more stamina. Another reason for such high health is that with no smithing, not even tempering, we are unlikely to reach the armor rating cap, so we need to be able to take a few hits. It's so important I resto-looped 2 items of peerless health along with the rest of the gear in the late game. Just a draught, a filter and an elixir of the healer drank consecutively before equipping my items. This resulted in almost 700 HP around level 50. Keep an eye out for the healer's potions in the world. I also used restoration loop on my standing stone, the lady. The in-game description won't change, but the effect does benefit from 45 restoration. Combining that with some horker stew or vegetable soup results in some rather satisfying health regeneration, not enough to become immortal, but quite enough to have your health visibly improving when you, for example, take out your Bow of Shadows to disappear, or when you simply keep your distance to use archery, or when you shield charge all the time. And of course the stamina regen will go well with our shoes. Now for the skills and perks, let's start with the two-handed. We take all ranks of Barbarian and all the perks in the middle except the useless War Master. Champion stance is unsurprisingly just terribly important for the stamina management. Sweep is just delicious with your Elemental Fury Volendrunk combo. It allows you to absorb stamina from multiple targets at once, which is on top of your neat enhanced Lady Stone stamina regeneration and the shoes. A few ranks of Skull Crusher can be useful to ignore enemy armor, but if you want to make some changes to the perk spread, Skull Crusher is probably the first one to drop. In block we take 1 rank of Shield Wall, then Quick Reflexes of course to save our life as needed, and then we go through all the bashing perks all the way to the Shield Charge. Yeah, I know it feels wrong, but just do it! Just do it! Bashing will be most useful after all your stamina regeneration things are stacked, but if you keep that Volendrunk charged, it will be totally fine to power bash from time to time even without all of them. And shield charge with no shield, yes, it may be somewhat annoying to execute, but you can definitely master it as an amazing combat opener. In archery we take pretty much every single perk, but with only 1 rank of steady hand and 1 of critical shot, of course, because honestly, who takes more than 1 rank of critical shot? Tell me, I need to talk to them calmly. As mentioned already, all the left hand side perks and the bullseye are just beautiful with Bow of Shadows. It's not going to always work, but you will get a decent chance of paralyzing a few enemies simultaneously and then finish them off with your huge warhammer. I mean, I'm repeating myself, but that just has never happened to me before. Ranger is also quite important for keeping your distance in combat, and Hunter's Discipline is quite useful too, because we are going to run through our quiver like a madman with all that speed. It is rather important, since we can't do smithing, that you try to keep yourself stocked with high quality arrows. In the light armor we take everything except matching set due to Predator's Grace. Our armor will never match. Windwalker is quite evidently our top priority perk here, worth some speed leveling. 50% extra stamina regeneration will be stacking with the shoes and the Lady Stone to create a veritable overflow of stamina, one of the main reasons I leaned so heavily towards health this little bugger. Then in Sneak we take all the perks on the left hand side all the way to the Shadow Warrior with Predator's Grace, which is the only item in the game granting you full muffle, so your walking makes no sound whatsoever. So with Predator's Grace and the Shadow Warrior you should be able to pull off some sneak attacks mid-combat by crouching and attacking. Yes, a faster weapon is much better for this because enemies lose track of you only for a second when you use Shadow Warrior, but among Warhammers, Volendrang and the Long Hammer are probably the only ones with which you can pull this off. Of course, with the shoes and silence it will also be super easy to just sneak up to an unaware enemy to do a sneak attack or perform a charge sneak attack with silent roll. Not to mention that your damn bow makes you invisible for half a minute when you draw it, which means you can always escape and regroup. When a fight goes wrong, just crouch and bring your bow out. Ta-ta! No one knows where you are now, you cannot be heard and you cannot be seen. Yes, I also feel like Shadow Warrior is a little bit too ninja for a savage barbarian, but he is a smart savage and really agile with all that rolling. This is just one in a bunch of super duper combat techniques available to the build, with the enchanted elemental fury, shieldless shield charge, resto, looped gear and the ninja bits. The lack of crafting skills is really barely an inconvenience. Here, I said it now. And for the gear, we have our two awesome quest-locked weapons, Volendrang for the stamina absorption and speed, and Bow of Shadows for the rate of fire and invisibility at will. You will also need to have an unenchanted bow at hand to pull off that wonderful exploit granting you elemental fury effect with enchanted weapons. Because Volendrang is going to run out of charges really frequently, a soul trapping weapon and the Black Star should also be considered. Black Star is of course a permanent soul gem, so you will always have at least one soul at hand in an emergency. A spare absorb stamina weapon can also be a good idea if you still have some inventory space left. Then we were the Predator's Grace and a bunch of generic magic items, 2 of Peerless Short Grip to get decent damage, 2 of Peerless Health and 1 of Peerless Archery. Remember to drink your potions, filters and elixirs before equipping these and never take them off unless you have some more Fortify Restoration potions available. I must admit I had to use the console to get the Dragon Scale items with the exact enchantments I needed. Dragon Scale armor is among the hardest to find in random loot and traders, and we cannot craft it ourselves. Yeah, I won't hold it against you if you mod the game a bit, or punch some blacksmiths, or use the console too, or simply go for a more laundry day look. So, what a ride! This is a hard-hitting warrior with some serious stealth admixture, resulting in one of my favorite combat styles of all time. In some ways, he plays like a scout with block perks and movement speed of light armor, in some others like a brute warrior, and even a bit of an assassin. I choose to see him as a wild, rage-driven fighter at heart, but with extremely keen senses and an opportunistic approach to combat, exploiting enemy weaknesses, always trying to use any advantage he can get. So he is smart, efficient and brutal. To wrap things up, you will need the Elemental Fury Shout and at least one word of Become Ethereal. As you might have noticed, we don't have much in terms of protection against magic. In dragon fights, a timed use of Become Ethereal may be your only option. Consider also enhancing a Shrine Blessing with a Fortify Restoration concoction. Arcade's Blessing seems to be most useful very early. Later, as you get more Fortify Restoration, Kinnereth and Talos should both be of help. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this. Remember that YouTube only likes me if you keep interacting with the video like a hyperactive child, so do all the things, like and share and subscribe and say weird stuff and, you know, sing a song to me. I don't know. I don't know. You may also choose to support me via subscribe star or the super thanks button down there, because I just always run out of coffee right in the middle of editing these videos. Maybe we can fix this problem together. Anywho, have fun and we will see each other again.